I'm Angel.
I'm Shaine Serrano.
Yeah, so I'm Bianca. My artist name is Dear Talia. It's actually because it's a love letter to my daughter. My daughter's name is Natalia. So every piece that I make would
Aw.
be a love letter to her. So that's how it all began.
So, what do you consider yourself? Are you an artist, a performer, a writer, or maybe something else?
Back in 2018, when somebody would ask me, I would always answer them that I'm a lawyer. And
Mhm.
my artist friends would tell me that, hey, you have to tell them that you're an artist. And I would always say, no, I'm not an artist yet. But after a few months, a few years maybe, I became more comfortable in saying that I am an artist. So to answer your question is, I am an artist more than I am a lawyer. I wasn't an artist for the longest time in my life. For about 12 years, I didn't do art at all. And then suddenly I stumbled into someone painting, and he gave me a paintbrush again in 2018, and that's when it all began again for me, and it's just continued and spiraled from there.
It's very beautiful. So, what medium do you use?
Right now I use acrylic. I didn't start with acrylic. I started with every other medium that there ever was except for acrylic. Because when I was a child, my mentor asked me to learn all the mediums before choosing one, and I chose oil because it was the most reputable, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And suddenly I learned about acrylic and how fast it was, and it kind of jived with me with the lifestyle I'm living. I don't have to wait anymore, and I can make it look like oil if I wanted to. I can give it texture if I wanted to. So I enjoy that a lot. Mostly it all began with this art residency that I was part of. We would have group exhibits for Ugnayan sa Poblacion, and then we started holding workshops. I taught for Fully Book, for Scribe, for National Bookstore, for Sakura Philippines, for SM Stationery. I taught for them watercolor because that was easy, and it was easy for kids to learn watercolor, which I love because for the longest time, since I didn't do art, I wanted to be able to share how easy it is to begin to do art again. So teaching it was great for me. For exhibits, I had exhibits, group exhibits with some of my friends called, it was called Awakening, Chunk of Hearts, and a bunch of others that I can't remember at the moment. But it would usually be group exhibits. Hopefully one day I could have an individual one when I have time.
So, can you share with us your favorite work so far, or is there anything you want to talk about? Any particular work?
My favorite works would be my synesthesia paintings. I don't know if you've heard of synesthesia. Synesthesia is a condition wherein you you perceive something with one sense and another sense is triggered in your mind. For me, when I hear something, I see colors in it. So I was
Oh.
fortunate enough to be able to translate what I see when I hear music into paintings. I learned that relatively recently, around 2019. I thought it was normal for people to see lights when they hear music. I thought it was normal for people to say that, oh, her voice is purple, her voice is tangerine.
Moving on to your inspirations, who are your favorite artists and your artistic inspirations?
My favorite artist would be Melissa McCracken. She's a synesthesia artist as well from New York. And honestly, my friends here who are artists, I admire them so much. If Filipino artists are so underrated, and if you look at their art, you'd be so surprised that despite their age, despite how young they are, they're insanely talented.
What are your other non-artistic inspirations? Can you tell us more?
What inspires me in life is my daughter. It's as simple as like everything is a love letter to her, as I said. That's why my art is called Dear Talia. The happiest part of every painting that I make would be when she comes up to me and tells me, "Hey, mommy, I love your painting. It's so neat. I wish I could paint
Aw.
like you." Every single time, no matter how ugly the painting is or how unneat it is as an abstract artwork, he would say that. And to me, that is and always would be the inspiration.
So, I guess before we end, can you continue the phrase, art for me is.
Art for me is what you think it is. Yeah, because people will say
Yes,
that's not
go ahead.
artistic, that's not art. But really, art is what you think it is.
Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
You can go to deartalia.com. That's deartalia.com. Or on Instagram, you can just find it at dear.talia.com, or my personal Instagram, which is Bianca Ruiz, BiancaRuiz. So my art would be everywhere there. Just to anyone who was afraid to start art, anybody who's intimidated by a paintbrush or any particular medium, just start. I have kids who are 4 years old who started doing galaxy paintings in Mega Mall, and they did pretty well. So don't be afraid. That's probably the last thing I'm ever going to say to you during this interview. Don't be afraid to start.